United States, James Knox Polk, heard the gold finds in what was in the California Territory, and saw an excellent opportunity to fulfill our manifest destiny. Now, you guys, Manuel there from Stockton, you remember the big butte fire we had up here a few years ago? It was that entire mountainside way off over the distance that was on fire that you saw on TV. Anyway, he saw an excellent opportunity to fulfill our manifest destiny and spread our nation from coast to coast, so he had the newspapers back east kind of play the gold rush up, and there was an article in the New York paper that read exactly like this. Go west, young man. Seek your fame and fortune. They're finding gold nuggets in the stream.
That works?
It must. Amateur Water District tests our wells down there and tests. So he built a few cabins along the waterfront and Roaring Camp was born.
Were you happy with them?
Over the first few years, of course, people had to come down that July, and even into August, we still had water that was much higher than normal down here. Flint Bar Trail on the backs of horses and mules. And once they got down there, they were kind of a captive audience and would stay for a day or two. They do the trick. Over 100,000 men and women made their way into the California Territory that very first year of that gold rush.
They're all still on the TV.
What about also where are they?
And by 1851, California was voted into statehood.
Well,
Now, unbeknownst to Mr. Polk, he created the largest mass migration of humans in the history of mankind. Over 5 million people made their way into the California Territory in the first 5 or 6 years of the gold rush. The newspapers back east let the folks know what was going on out here. And he wrote one book called The Luck of Roaring Camp. And we think he might have been writing about our camp right here because this quote or passage comes right directly out of that book. It says, the camp lay in a triangular valley between 2 hills and a river. The only outlet was a steep trail over the summit of a hill that faced the cabin. And that'll be this first cabin that we come to. Now, Mr. Rodman, like I told you guys, was here in 1937. That was his first time here. And after a few trips up and down the hill, he got to talking to some of the what were old timers to him down here. Remember, he was only a 16, 17-year-old lad at the time. And he asked him how old that cabin was. And they all kind of stroked their beards and said, well, it's been here as long as they could remember. And the old timers told them that it was been there as long as they could remember. And here 5 or 6 years ago, we had a big old oak tree fall down up here, and one of the side branches clipped the cabin, crushed the roof, and knocked a little bit off of its foundation. Pockets on the opposite side of the pan.
The thumb, yeah, all right,
It's
okay.
got that little knob. And what you're going to do is put the pan under the water. You lift the material straight up and let it drop back into the pan. Grind it up with both hands like this. You want to be very aggressive with it. While you're doing it, run your fingertips in the pocket like this a couple times under here. That way you don't have a dirt clot in there. Keep rubbing it, and you'll feel it change. Like you see what your pan looks like right now. Just lift it up and down a couple times and pour the water out. Now see the difference?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The soil has been
Gone,
taken out.
yes.
Yeah.
Pick out the big rocks, take a look at them. Make sure they're not a piece of gold.
What are those white
I
stones?
don't know, I'm just going to take a closer look at that one. Once you get all the big rocks taken out, put it back in the water. Mix it up one more time real good. Swirl the pan around, make sure everything's moving at once. You can actually stick your fingers in there and feel it. Go ahead and feel that. See how everything's moving at once in there?
I see gold now.
Everything moving at once, then push the pan forward, pull it back 2 times. Think of the ocean and the water coming in the ocean like a tide up on the shore. You see how it washes the stuff back in? That's what we're trying to do. The water coming out of the pan, and the water comes out of the pan, it's pulling the stuff off the top. Give it a couple more shakes. 1, 2. Increase the angle this way here, up just a tiny bit each time. A couple of big rocks in there, tickle them out. Take a look at them, nothing there. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's as far as you have to go. Hold the pan in your left hand. Gently splash everything out of the pocket. Clean the corners out. Tap, tap, tap. That makes the gold go along this seam underneath this material. Give the pan a little shake. And then let the water eat that material away from the top. If there's any gold in the pan, it'll show right up here at the top. And there we go.
Uh-huh.
That's a pretty nice piece right there. That's a little
That's
bigger.
big guy.
That's a nice piece right there.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what you can do.